Hey people, Derp here. Welcome back to another Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever cast. Today we're going to be playing on Huge Wonder Open, and we've got a 2v2 that's extremely high rated. 2v2 is pretty hot right now. And we're going to have average rating 2200. So have a quick look at our players. Starting off with our highest rated player down here. At 2600 from the SA clan, it's going to be Nexus. He's going purple UEF. Now, obviously, these players are super high rated, so they will be going random faction, almost certainly. His teammate down here going to be Aeon playing in grey. It's going to be Donnie from the SNF clan. And their opponents up here on the right. The Cockroach himself, it's Blast Chilled playing in UEF, so even more roach-filledness. And his ally is going to be Absolute Evil, playing in a pink Seraphim. All the players, as you can see here, they're going for some form of Hydro Rush, which is pretty expected, I would say. Obviously, it is the new year, and everyone has a bunch of time to go and look at the internet and stuff, so expect to see a lot of slop all everywhere, all over the internet, people releasing all their videos. I wasn't actually going to do one, but then I was kind of reminded that a lot of people, they kind of suffer over the Christmas period because they don't have the enjoyment of arguing with their families. This is the #1 time of the year for family discontent and divorces to start. This and just into the new year. So if you don't have that to enjoy, if you don't have that conflict in your life, well, you can substitute that with some Supreme Commander conflict today on this enormous map. Normally, it, of course, is played like this. The Team 2 and the map symmetry is split this way. But today, because it's playing a 2v2, we're going to be splitting it kind of like this. We'll see how that works out for our players. Second air for Nexus. Down here. Let's see if we can speed that up. Fast in, slow out. Donnie going third air by the looks of things. I would expect transport drops to be the kind of opener here. Yeah, second land, because there's quite a lot of reclaim to grab, followed by air. What's Absolute Evil up to? Well, he's doing basically the same things. We should see some transport drops. The question is, where is it best to drop? You might think this central location. It's a good one for both players, probably like this. It's slightly closer. Might see this happen or this. So it kind of depends what the players are planning to do with their split. Nexus obviously has the advantage over his opponent here. Blast Shield has the advantage over his opponent here. So we might see a circular motion. We might see a bit of a wheeling. And it's interesting, these kind of rocks in the middle. Look at these craters. Wow, do you see that glitch out there? That's actually crazy. Did not expect that. So we got some mass in the middle. The moon craters. Evil gets a nice scout in here. What's he going to pick up? Probably looking for the transport timing, if we're honest. And he catches it. Bam. Very, very nice. He catches not only the transport timing, but the direction as well. So he knows this. And I would expect his interceptors to go for this transport as soon as they have finished with this inti. Meanwhile, Donnie, what's he scouted? Well, he assumed his opponent was going here, but actually his opponent went for the middle. This can definitely be denied, by the way. Evil can deny this. He has got a bomber. It looks like it's struggling to go over the mountain. Whoa, are you drunk, little bomber? What are you doing, buddy? The height maps on the mountains do tend to mess them up. I assume he's going to be coming for this factory here. The scout kind of gives it away. Does Nexus see it? Well, he's got a scout here anyway. He's trying to pick up that bomber. And he does see it. And Nexus is paying attention by the looks of things. Look at that dodge. 2600 gameplay. -1 engineer. Instant transport. Archer. The anti-air there. Interceptor claims up the bomber, but killing just one or two bombers, one or two engineers there will really delay the expansion. And that is what he needs to do. Interestingly, Evil looks like he went for a split here. So he dropped half his engineers here and half his engineers here. This to establish a manufacturing base, and this to just to try and hold on to it. Because this, obviously, if you have this area, he can attack in either direction, which puts him in a pretty good position. But it does mean he can get surrounded. Likewise, Donnie has gone for this, and because he's Aeon, he's going to be raiding with flares. He's going to be ruining all the reclaim here, but I guess that doesn't matter to him. Flares versus strikers. It's okay for the strikers, but the flares are still really dangerous because they're so fast. He's going to try and get them around like this, almost certainly. That will be a good play for him. Now, income-wise, Team 1, they are ahead. They got a little bit more income. Not sure entirely why that is. Donnie has probably prioritized getting factories up first. There's obviously a bit of a difference in the mexes that have been taken here. And looks like Evil managed to try to do another kind of a proxy build here, but that's going to get claimed up. And he's also dropped off some a bit of a nuggets play here to drop a PD. Interestingly, it looks like the PD's DPS isn't enough to break 2 engineers working on a factory. But obviously when it completes, they'll have to move to repair, which they're not doing, so the factory will die. In comes the ACU. And it looks like Nexus is going to be doing a bit of a pincer here. And Evil will have to hold like this. So these middle positions proving to be quite pivotal already. Got a slow bomber at the back being annoying. It's going to get cleaned up by an interceptor. And what happened with these flares? Wow. Cleaned up this hero striker. Not able to prevent all of them though, so a few flares will get in, and even just messing up the reclaim is good for Donnie there. What he wants to do. Some Auroras here. Obviously the Auroras have a much better range. Let's go and check in with the fight up here. So Evil now going to be coming out to try to prevent some of the damage here, I guess. As he's lost this position. He is down on units, but he has some more arties, so he should be able to deal with this PD. Bomber, are you drunk? So, need no upgrades for either team on the ACUs here. But, as tech-wise, I mean, we're at 8 minutes. I suspect one of them will have done a HQ skip. We've got T2 here for Absolute Evil. He's already working on T2P Gen. But here to check that. Let's look at the tech in Blast Space. Well, he's on T2. He's actually already started T3 land. Donnie, where's he? Well, he's almost up to T3 already. Some T2 units just now hitting the mid of the field, and they're already on the way to T3. No T3 for Nexus, but he is going Tech 2 Air. Tech 2 Air into Interceptors, which is an interesting, if you see that down there, that's what his plan is. So these Tech 2 raids, when they do come out, the players that have pushed a little bit more Tech 2 production, they are going to be very dangerous because they can get right in here. Especially when there's not a lot, just engineers and Tech 1 slop around. Tech 2 raids can really punch through your opponent. You do need to be slightly cautious of the amount of... this is the damage a Tech 2 unit can do when it's just slop on the field. Just racking up the kills. Donnie did manage to hold this base down here, and he's got a lot of manufacturing. He's actually making blazes, which you would assume would be for raiding. But given his opponent is spamming pillars, it might actually be better to go something a little bit heavier. The obsidian is so good. Yenzines. That's a terrible matchup for Absolute Evil there. Yenzines not really very good against strikers because they don't one-shot them. They are fast, but they don't one-shot the strikers, so they take a lot of damage. They're not cheap either. You can't really afford to throw them away, not at this stage. You don't want to throw Tech 2 units into a Tech 1 army and lose them, really. So, Tech 2 coming out for Nexus. Blast completes T3. What's the units is he going to go for? Probably Titans? Question mark? Or is he just going to make T3 engineers from this for now? He does have Tech 2 Air, but he's not using it. I assume he wants to make a T3 P-Gen first. That would make a lot of sense. Small Tech 2 raid here. Is going to come into range of this PD though. Oh, there's an opportunity to kill a Tech, the mechs. Oh, that was close. It was close. Eco now very even. Almost nothing in it. And there's those stingers that we saw Nexus working on. Nice Tech 2 units here. The pillar's pretty strong. Now there is almost enough units here to overwhelm this, I would say. There's only a few Tech 2 units here, but the PD and the ACU make it a little bit more prickly than it would otherwise be. Big Tech 2 fight down here, and we do have Obsidians. Not the longest range on the Obsidian, but they are very dangerous. They just absorb so much damage with the shield. 1500 shield. That's a lot. I think the pillar only has 1500 health, so... double the HP of the pillar on the Obsidian. There's another little raid getting into the back here, but... the blazes will catch the pillar here. 18 kills though, sorry, 14 kills is not bad going for a pillar. Interestingly, Evil has managed to kind of take this area. Doesn't really seem to be too contested. He's got a bunch of Tech 2 engineers here. And buildings like a forward firebase here could be very annoying for Nexus, as his units kind of like rally past. Drawn out the battle line so far, it looks like it's going to be like this. So, team 2 down here. Team 1 and Team 3? I'm sorry. Team 3? What? Blast much further ahead on eco. Look, 100 eco up now. What is causing that? Perhaps they're just focusing on their eco a little bit more, or is Donnie stalling? Donnie is stalling 2000 E. Okay, that's exactly what the problem is. What is he stalling doing? It looks like he's stalling doing T3 air. Nexus also asks for E. They're both stalling doing E, doing the same upgrade. Great teamwork, guys. Great work. Very sad little bomber there. Landed right next to the anti-air. Executed by anti-aircraft turret. A little North Korea moment. Well, this is what those engineers were doing. They're all assisting this. That's very expensive, but the damage that he can do with this, potentially he can kill a whole bunch of mexes. Is Nexus going to see it? Yes, he is. But the damage range there is, we're talking like this. So lots of mexes in range. And very difficult to get T2 engineers out to all of them. So he's going to lose a lot of mexes there. This is going to pay for itself. That's a reward for having a small forward position. And slow bombers on the field here. Tech 1 bombers killing Tech 2 units. No anti-air in the mix here. Tech 3 factories producing Percivals could maybe just have one of these making some Tech 1 anti-air. Would deal with this problem, but he does have interceptors to deal with that instead. And here come the Percivals. Not attempting to drop them. Obviously, dropping them into the back is what you want to try to do. What is this transport doing here? What? Oh, he did drop it. He did drop one. Very nice. Donnie gets a nice drop there. He's going to kill a whole bunch of... This one actually has some progress to T3. Not able to repair it. As 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mechs is killed there with this harb. 4,000 mass killed. Very, very nice drop. If he could micro it away as well. It looks like he's going to kill the factory. We got another TML question mark? Yeah, we do. Another TML here, but that's going to be kind of primary. What is it going for? Going for this factory, not the HQ. But Donnie goes to take that out. This harb in the back is still not dead, by the way. Something, Stingers, high DPS. Not the best move here into this, but we'll split because we have got 2 crushes going on. Absolute Evil is kind of pushing in here to protect his TML, which has 3,000 mass kill, by the way. And he moves the Othams to kill the TMD, which opens up more targets for his TML. Very nice. On the right-hand side, Donnie is kind of crushing through this forward base with Tech 2 units before they kind of get established. I think this push will get shut down because there's Percy's everywhere now, but the damage it's going to do is well worth it. TML still firing. Is the shield blocking this? The shield is blocking it even though it shouldn't be. The shield is like this and it's hitting here and it's still... Bam. Get wrecked. Okay, well... Tech 2 radar also crushed. Nexus trying to siege this down, but the terrain is going to make that quite hard. Trying to rebuild that factory. The terrain here is going to kind of funnel the units. This is a pretty advantageous fight for Evil because he's got PDs here, he's got a shield here. And his units actually have the range advantage because he's mostly Yenzines. The Percival's here not really able to get stuck in because of the PDs. So pretty nice move, and that army withdrawal here from Nexus has allowed Evil to crush into this middle area. More Percivals rally down to deal with that. Team 3 now ahead in eco, so they've fixed whatever eco they had, although they're still stalling. I suspect Nexus is ecoing quite hard off the back of this because he has not been producing as many T3 units. T3 units here, all of these Othams on Evil. Nexus has way more eco. He's really been ecoing hard there. He does have this area, of course, but it's really only Tech 1. These haven't even been upgraded yet. This is a very dangerous push. There's a couple of flaks in here. Not a lot, but this can do real damage. Question is, when does Evil start committing it into fighting before the gunships come out and deal with it? Because there is T3 air. No gunships in production, but Yenzines against Titans. Pretty sure Titans are going to crush that. Evil decides to go and raid this area, but that's into production, so he's going to come up against T3 units doing that. His army is mostly Tech 2. He really needed to kind of like get into this kind of an area. Not, you know, obviously here exactly, but finding an area that's unprotected is what he needed to do with this army. The Othams obviously are quite far behind. Now he's going to try and cut off into here, but he's being chased. There's a bit of a slaughter going on up the top, look. The Harbs are going to eat the Yenzines for breakfast. And this is going to be a slaughter too. Engineers into Percival's and shields. Look how many shots the Percival's waste though. They are not the smartest. They're big, but they're kind of dumb. That's the problem with Percival's. And the Othams, they got great damage, but surrounded and killed off there. So, our battle line now, if we divide the map, is almost... That's a very nice drop there from Blast. A Tech 2 transport here, killing engineers. Get him, transport. Get that engineer. No! Very sad. So we've actually got 2 drops on the bottom. So Absolute Evil here has dropped Othams into the back. Or somehow they managed to get through. I suspect they were dropped. And at the same time, Blast has managed to get 2 Percys in. Obviously there are Titans streaming in to deal with that. But Percival's will eat those Titans. Trying to split these Othams up to deal more damage. Two Percys just, you know, they basically one-shot a Tech 2 mechs like that. It's absolutely brutal. 3,500 mass killed on each of them now. Continental counter drop here to deal with the Othams. 10,000 mass killed this Otham. What an absolute monster. We'll change target at the last second. And 4,000 mass killed on this one. So that was the hero Otham right there. Rest in peace. You will not be forgotten. 10,000 mass killed. Very well done. We actually also have a hero Blaze. Look at this Blaze. How did he get there? Was he dropped as well? Yeah, get that mechs. Anything an Otham or a Percy can do, I can do better, says this Blaze. And it looks like he hasn't been noticed. So, I guess it's fine. Another drop here you can see on the radar. This is where it starts to get kind of a problem for Evil, because once the Percys start massing, an attack move of Percy's can really just cripple Othams. And you can't even get close. You need to start microing to try and get close to the Othams. This is kind of how obsolete Tech 1 and Tech 2 units are at this point. I mean, they're not going to kill anything here. Useful only for absorbing some damage. This big group of Harbs, though, they're definitely going to do some real work. Although one of them ate a spearhead missile in the face. They not have shields on? Is he stalling E doing this? He is! Oh no. Harbs are much less effective without their shields. In fact, without their shields, they might not even be able to break these Percys here. Luckily, the shields pop back on at the last second. Fairly even fight. More Percivals turning up as the Harbs get into the production, though. Yeah, the Harbs would have actually won that, but they've kind of overflowed into the next group of Percys. Look at the destruction here. All these Percys and Harbs dying on the way up. He's gotten so far that there's needed to be a proper response, at which point the gunships come in. We've got 2 base sieges about to happen as well. Some of these Harbs with a fair bit of mass killed. Where are the ACUs? Well, Absolute Evo only has gun. Nexus only has T2, and he's building himself a shield. Donnie has nothing. And he's just sitting in his base where he walked at the start. And Blast, he also has nothing, and he's basically back at home. And that is because you can very easily die to just something. This bottom base gonna get taken out, but let's go and have a look at this fight up here. Lots of Othams here for Evil. 41 Othams in this, just in this screen here. He needs to be careful with them. He has to keep moving them, otherwise the spearheads will they'll whittle him down. 2 engineers going around upgrading mexes. Nexus really committing to the eco here. He would have a lot more units if he was kind of focusing on production. A lot of mexes up here, all great, upgrading. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mexes upgrading here. He's also Sam creeping. A little engineer huddle. Yeah, screw these civilians. Get UEF drive-by'd. So, Spearhead's going to try and lay siege to this base here. There are sniper bots. Look how quickly they take out the factory through the shields. There's also a run-by down here. Not sure why these Othams backed off. Looks like the Percys are getting the upper hand on the bottom fight for now. Evil decides to back off. There are a very large number of engineers here. They will very quickly slurp up all the reclaim. What are these TMLs doing? He's just firing where the army used to be. That's not a great move. Looks like broadswords will come in from Blast to actually deal with the Percivals here. What happened to the Blaze? Is this the Blaze? It looks like it. It looks like it went on an adventure over here, and eventually... It did get a few more mexes, but then eventually got killed. The hero Blaze. Okay, so we got Stingers and Broadswords. Obviously, each one of these Percivals has a very large amount of hit points to chew through. Firing the little bullets at that reinforced armor does not do that much. And there's a Sam here as well. Well, that will scare away the gunships there. Engineers being dropped. I guess they're to reclaim. Very, very sensible. Nexus has kind of now taken this whole area here. With the exception of this base, which remains a thorn in his side. Let's go and look at the Percy's versus Harbs round 2. That is quite a mess, actually. The Percy's not in a great formation, and the Harbs look like they're doing pretty well out of that. The Spearheads actually have a lot of health. I always think they're so squishy when I play with them, but when I see them in this, eating Harb fire, I kind of reminded how tough they actually are. Looks like there was a push here with Othams, and that got deleted by gunships. And now we're going to have 2 pushes. We're going to have this, and we're going to have this. So I don't know which team will kind of like come across the middle here and try to save their allies. But both of these pushes are now on damaging core production. Tech 2 artillery is trying to be tried here, but that's not going to work. Obviously, the Otham has amazing DPS close up, but their range and speed is not fantastic. Over here, we've got the gunships brought in to damage the Percivals. Very few flaks with this army, really. No T3 anti-air either. That's a lot of gunships. Does look like the production will get taken down. It's going to force an air fight over the top. Blast does pretty well there to only engage the ASF and not the gunships, which I think is his plan. It's very even. Just think the Nexus is going to get the upper hand. Nexus is a real old hand at air fights. It's very experienced. Finally, the Inties show up for the fight. Let's go, Inties. A few more ASF get rallied in. It's probably still almost even, but the damage has been done to the army. Meanwhile, whilst Nexus's ASF are all over here, a bunch of Tech 1 bombers did damage. And has spawned Tech 1 bombers here. We're able to get some work in on the top army, so pretty good teamwork. So much reclaim here. How much reclaim is now on the map? 134k, so it's gone up since the battle started, which I guess you would expect, really. A few flaks, but they get deleted real quick. If Nexus is going to be kind of resorting to gunships heavily like this, he needs another couple of Tech 2 factories making only flaks. It's like OnlyFans, but more profitable against air. Fatboy's under construction. These Othams could deal with that pretty quick. But he is in fact going for the Mexes instead. Something like this. Makes sense. He can stay ahead of the Percys. Losing an Otham there hurts his DPS though. It's unfortunate. And this will be a really good time to use this 10,000 mass killed TML to nuke this down. Very, very effective at killing experimentals like that. It's unusual for you to be in a position where you have a base that is technically behind where somebody is making a Fatboy. This is an unusual situation. Especially with only 2 shields here. 4 TMLs and he can kill this, and he has that loaded already, so the gunships can take a lot of damage here, especially if they bunch up like this. Technically the flaks didn't actually kill any of these, but the damage they did was enormous. Nexus should probably consider repairing these now. We have to split again. This is a real slugfest. Team incomes, well, Team 3 down here. Team, it feels so weird saying Team 3. Team 3 is very slightly ahead. And both players on the top have Fatboys online. So interestingly, Evil here actually went for a Fatboy, even though he is Seraphim. Does that mean Fatboys are good now? Are Fatboys good? When did that happen? Are you sure they're good? To ask for a UEF engineer to make a UEF experimental is just not something I've seen in a long time. So Fatboy pressure here onto the construction. Meanwhile, Fatboy farming here. This is what they're good at. They're very good at farming units. Looks like we might lose this TML. It's fully loaded. Could still deal with this Fatboy. No, it's firing. Boop. Gunships here dealing with a run-by of Othams. The TML actually hit the Fatboy quite a few times there. The Othams take down a bunch of eco. And this annoying middle base is now dealt with. Been a pain in Nexus's side for a long time. And well, look at all these gunships going around the top here. This is an interesting move. Does Nexus see that? No, he actually doesn't. He has a Tech 2 radar here, but the Tech 2 radar is like this. Look at the Tech 2 radar range. But the UEF jamming is going to actually, it's going to hurt him more than it helped him. Very compact ball of units here. This is a prime Billy target. Blast. This is definitely a kind of a map where Billy can be really useful against blocks of units. If it was me, I would be getting Billy right now. This gunship surprise attack did absolutely nothing, unfortunately. Well, it's going to be some damage. See how quickly the Titans die to the Fatboy fire. Fatboy just farming more kills here. Ideally, it kills this other Fatboy. That's the main threat to it, honestly. Oh, it's so painful. The Fatboy is so expensive as well. It really is. Is this a drop here to deal with this fat boy? I think it was. 6 Percys dropped here. Probably one of these transports. But not quite enough. And Fatboy down here going to start farming the Seraphim units. Interesting mix. Seraphim shields and Fatboys. Actually very strong if you kind of think about it. Now, obviously the Percivals are going to prioritize the engineers because that's the kind of bananas that they are. 2 Fatboy fights. And a very large amount of spearheads. Stop shooting the engineers, they're useless. Obviously, the main battlefield opponent that the Percy has is the Percy's own intelligence. Why it just shoots things which don't matter. Otherwise, it's unmatched. The absolute chaos here. Percy's on the retreat again from the Harbs. Harbs also really strong in this kind of a matchup because they can reclaim the whole back. Every time the Harbs like do this, they can just come back a little bit and reclaim everything. But probably won't see that happen. What? What is this spirit spam garbage? Get out of the way, broadsword. What is this spirit spam doing? That is a real rat move. This is just to confuse the fat boys. It's going to ruin his kill-death ratio. Yeah, Donnie's kill-death ratio falling by the second thanks to this. So. Fatboy wars continuing on the right. Fatboy did actually manage to get some good shots here on these spearheads. The big battle is down here with the spirit spam desperation. Not really that much. There's quite a lot of Percys here actually. And there's a lot of Cougars, more importantly. The Cougars are the real problem for Nexus because he's losing his gunships and he really does need those gunships. He actually has to retreat the gunships away. It's a real slugfest. Oh. ASF kind of catch the gunships here, but I think Blast is outmatched. He's going to retreat over his own air to try and fight it out. He does have so much flak here, look. He's actually running out of Percys, that's the main problem. It looks like he lost the air fight, even with all that flak underneath it. Now the Harbs will catch the flaks. So this area is going to kind of chill for a little while. And now we have to look at this Ravager wall, which has been completed here by Nexus. And that's to prevent chickens. So mixing in Yothas with his fat boys is absolute evil. And it's kind of an exclusion zone around this fat boy base. Now what realistically this kind of crush here And that will definitely kill this base. The threat to that is this very menacing group of Perseus. There are 60 Perseus here. And Nexus is transitioning to Titan spam. Probably to get in and under the shields and move quickly. So Chicken here catches this Fatboy with his balls. Now the Fatboy goes down at the front. The Ravagers are going after the Chicken. But obviously the Chicken can micro and dodge. Look at that, 360 no scope. In the background, all the Perseus are kind of scrambling to get back into position to defend. Kind of confusing with them being faction locked like that. The mirror factions. Much better concave for Evil here. I think he will catch this Fatboy. As soon as these Othams get into range, they're going to tear the Perseus apart. There'll be nothing left. They're just going to die instantly. What else do we have on the map on the right hand side? Well, Fatboy's air grid nuke launcher under construction for blast. And why is that? Well, Nexus has been a rat here and he has completed a T3 RT. There's no need for that kind of behavior. So now we need to keep an eye on the air grids as well as everything else. So T3 RT raining on the we've got another fight down here onto the air grid. That's dealing massive damage. Here we've got kind of a established battle line. We've got Chickens, Perseus, shields against mostly Perseus and Fatboys. It's a nice view of this one. This is what Peak Supreme Commander is supposed to be like. Massive battles. Nice concave for Nexus, actually. He kind of surrounding the units here. Oh, he's going to get caught, though. He's going to get caught. And those Othams, they are so tanky and they do so much damage. Army melted, and now everything can turn down here onto these Perseus. What is Evil working on? Well, more chickens, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, lots of chickens. Not sure what this Titan move is gonna do about that. That seems like a questionable decision. Fatboy is able to deal with this, but obviously he's going to have to give up ground to do that. And the SAM creep? Let's check the SAM creep. It's not as much as it was, so... Things looking pretty good now for Team 1, if you look at their map control. And this is... he can definitely push across into here. Othams are going to ruin these Titans. It will not even be close. The problem is the broadswords. Broadswords will basically put a stop to anything, as long as if there's even any push these broadswords can deal with, if there's not a very large amount of anti-air with it. And there's actually not a lot of anti-air with Evil's army. He's rallying in flax now, look, but well, down here, well, Fatboy hard pushing. And here, Fatboy sniper bots. Fatboy GC. And it's just bullets across the entire map right now. Engineer Continental drops here into the battlefield. That's for reclaim, so he can keep producing more Fatboys. See the shots coming off the Cougars trying to deny the transports. But those Continentals are very tanky. So many Percivals as well here. He's going to get into the reclaim production here. Look at this big reclaim field. That's why they're so desperate to defend this. This reclaim field on its own is worth nearly 100,000 mass. So, nuke completed for Blast. Another arty Nexus. Why would you do this? What is wrong with you, man? We were having a nice battle. All of a sudden, the spearheads are looking very outclassed here by the power of these fat boys. 4 chickens and a fat boy up the top here versus 5, 6 fat boys and, I don't know, many, many more hubs have been gifted over. This fat boy lost its shields entirely. And standing in there is going to get it killed for sure. Meanwhile, on the bottom half of the map, well, Blast is kind of in full retreat here. He doesn't have any T4s of his own. And so there's not really a lot he can do about the GC fat boy combo. So, 2 chickens here and a fat boy going up against a lot of fat boys. Look at the amount of fire that's coming off these bad boys. Now, what's Nexus' best move here? Probably to get rid of the reclaim factories. But he wants to prevent this from happening. This is the main thing he needs to prevent. He needs to keep this base, as it's a large part of his income. He's also got a nice raid down here. This is a nice raid by Donny. Managed to pick up a few mexes already. Quite a bit of flak in here. Tech 2 flak in great numbers does deal with broadswords, look. Remember that broadswords are very expensive. The shields, absolutely brutal. Tech 2 artillery bank here from Blast, trying to help his ally here. This army is going to push north. That's going to drag half of Nexus's units up north with it. Kind of shame that they're all primarying the shields here, but that's fine. The Nexus has got a split. He can chase this army. If he chases, he loses probably most of this base. Or he can push, and if he pushes and gets collapsed on, he loses big, and he'll lose the reclaim for it. So this is actually a pretty nice move by Evil here. Look at the amount of missiles flying everywhere. That is a lot of spearheads. Well, the gunships are going to try and help this top area. But there's so much flak, I don't think it's worth it. Especially not just to kill the chickens. Does he realize there was this much flak? This is enough gunship doom here. This would make FTX very sad. All those glorious gunships wasted. So the Fat Boys did manage to push the spearheads back. And the gunships did not prevent the loss of this base up here. We're in a situation where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 experimentals here versus 2. Now, if these were anything other than Fat Boys, let's say these were GCs, I'm pretty sure he just walks them in and wins the game, and that's it. But because they're Fat Boys, he can't do that. He needs to keep slow pushing and farming for value whilst he does something else. The problem with that is that it takes a very long time and it can be held up by cheap units. So, T3RT raining down on nothing but flak in Evil Space. Okay. Look at the amount of missiles. Fatboy forced to use its side guns. At the top, well, the double chicken, they're going to get a nice move on this army, but the Fatboy, I think, especially with them clumped up, is going to do pretty good. We've got individual chicken on Fatboy fights happening everywhere. That's really good for the chickens. It's about as good as an engagement as they're going to get. There's carnage everywhere, to be quite honest, and I don't even think the splitting is going to help. This chicken is going to die to the Percys. In the middle, this one dies. This one gets, Fatboy gets picked off. The storms are going to add even more chaos to the mix. But that looks like it's going to be a win for the Fat Boys, honestly. Lots of regen and veterancy on the chickens that survived. Spearhead missiles. Oh my goodness. Okay. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead already. He's dead already. Nothing but shields here. A bank of nothing but Tech 2 RT against a bank of an army of nothing but shields. Now, what is the range of these RTs that Nexus is making? It's basically everything. What is the response? Well, it's going to be a Mavor for Blast. That will deal with this if he can keep it up. I assume he's calculated this. He has. It's actually outside of the range of the T3RTs. Look at the Fat Boys. So many Fat Boys. Tech 1 bombers here deal with a GC. But these side areas have proved basically impossible to hold. Well, either that's because they're too far from the reinforcements, or it's because they're just easily raidable. Neither player has been able to hold on to those two. Let's look at how mass they've got. So Reclaim mass, Nexus, top player as you would expect. Lots finalist. He's ahead in Reclaim. Total in storage. Blast. You are fat, my man. You are a very fat man. Look at that. 45k in storage. And this is a amazing nuke if he lands this. Not going for the base because, well, there's an anti-nuke here. That's going to prevent most of it. He could go for the Ras Boys here, actually. But it looks like he might get the Fat Boys. Remember, these Fat Boys cost 36,000 mass each. They are so expensive. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. Perfect. And because the army is basically Fatboys and Flak, we've transitioned into a pure slop counter-attack. Nothing but Tech 1 factories and Zooies. So this is the perfect counter to Fatboys, Percivals, and Shields. Just overwhelm them with sheer numbers. It's basically the perfect counter. Which is why I guess Nexus will start mixing back in Titans, which deal with Zooies, and the rock, paper, scissors game of countering each other's units will go round and round forever. Here we go, we got some Harbs here raiding. Oh my goodness. Pretty scary army here, but it's all Flaks. Look at these boys. These boys here slurping up the mass. And what are we working on? Ras boys. Okay. I guess that's still meta. And this is going to be a real big problem for Team 1 up here. Nexus up to more than 1,000 mass killed. Nice Fatboy micro here. That's what Blast needs. Focus down the Fatboys with that. He's got 3 of them that he managed to damage, probably cycling them in and out there. Look at this. Look at the damage from the spearheads. Oof. Sniper bots getting demolished there by Fatboys. Even in this situation, these Fatboys are not paying for themselves. Only 20,000 mass killed. Obviously, they do a lot more in hit point damage than pure kills, but they do need a lot of time to make their value back. Counter nuke from Nexus. There's no anti-nuke at the front here. So this will kill a bunch of T3 mexes and some T3 factories, but the T3 factories are paused. I guess Donnie doesn't have any mass. Probably because he's spending it all on this, right? They are team building a Mavor. Look at that. We got the gap strategy. That will be up pretty soon. Does Nexus know about it? Absolutely not. I really hope they built a stealth gen. They did. Perfect. Perfect. Nexus says, I'm just going to make Para, and he starts a Paragon by himself. Look at these Traitorino UEF boys making an Aeon structure. 3 Arties and a Paragon. Look at the amount of Flaks. Which is wild, because there's nobody on the other team making... There's nobody here making gunships at all. Nexus has all this flak for nothing. Rasboy going pop here. Now that Paragon is coming up real quick. That's surprisingly quick. So is the Mavor. The Mavor's unlimited range, look. That will be done real soon. I mean, they did need to spend their mass. No. I mean, it could be done already if Absolute Evil actually gave his mass over. It could be done. Could be easily finished already. Donnie says, can't we air crush? We can count the ASF. 163. 265. Yeah, they can air crush and then just gunship. Fly in gunships like this. There was a bank of Tech 2 artillery here, but it looks like it's been reclaimed. That's very sensible. Reclaimed and moved forwards. Okay, well, the Mavor is done. And those shots are starting to rain down on Nexus's base. Bam! Immediately, one lands on the air grid there. Obviously, the nuke is loaded, but it's extremely volatile. Just loaded now. The Paragon is unshielded. A single arty shot here from the Mavor would deal immense damage. Well, the nuke gets taken out, but the shields are spammed very quickly there. We got a battle here between two UEF blocks, basically. Look at the amount of fire to zoom through the battlefield like that. Woo. Not gonna watch the arty war. If you're making arty, you're being lame. You ain't doing that. Oh, can I toggle the camera off? Got a no man's land forming in the middle here. As these three Fatboys here for Blast turn up, and they can focus down the Fatboy for Donnie, and he'll be in real problems without one of his own to kind of stop this happening. Shield evaporates. 3-on-1. That is not consensual. Literally looks like raindrops falling on his army. It does look like his army managed to... His Fatboy is going to escape, though. Maybe. Or maybe not. He got primaried. And the explosion killed a bunch of Harbs there. It's even more unfortunate for Donnie. So the Paragon is finished. What is he working on? Well, actually looks like he's mostly working on shields with it. I don't see any extreme production other than lines of T3 factories. Nexus says they have Mavor, by the way. They do. That's correct. Oh, so close. Is it firing fast, though? No, it doesn't have full T3 adjacency. It has Tech 1 adjacency, which is pretty good. I think it's like half. It's got like half the speed for obviously a lot less danger and cost for explosiveness. But I wonder what difference it would make if he actually had the full full fire rate. Also not sure why Blast isn't pushing here. He has a big advantage on experimentals. Again, if these Fatboys were GCs, he could just walk in here and win the game. But because they're Fatboys, kind of can't. I guess he's pulling back because he's losing stuff over here for the T3 RT. He needs to just spread out all of his power and everything. I mean, at least send half of your shit here and get rid of this. Because Nexus now has a very large, scary army that he's built. What is the range of these? Nice. But at least this is getting some value. And Nexus has Aeon Tech moved over. And all these Zooies suddenly not really worth very much due to GCs everywhere. My goodness. Get 'em, boys.
Strategic launch detected.
what did I miss? Oh no. I missed a telly. I didn't even see it get finished. Unsplash, teleporter. Sorry, everyone. You sure got the whole Guilecast experience there, huh? So let's take a look at what actually happened. Yeah, so we can see the teleport is coming in. He's going to land right in the middle. He gets focused by a bunch of PD, but the gun is enough to take down the Paragon. Interestingly, we see that all the eco actually got handed over to Donnie because the Paragon is finished. And you can also see that the HQs, which were here, both of Nexus's HQs were lost, which is why all of his factories are idle. So that actually, the Maver actually did him a crippling blow. It's a shame that the Maver wasn't used to kill the anti-nuke before the nuke was launched there, because that would have killed all the reclaim. And this is a big number right here. That's a lot of reclaim. Anyway, back to your Guilecast. Enjoy. So Absolute Evil makes the sacrifice. He teleports in and kills the Paragon, but his team is now still down quite a bit in reclaim, in mass income. And he's in trouble everywhere by the looks of it. I think he'll hold this one. He's got enough Cougars here to kill the Restorers in this fight. But on the top, he's got no decent firepower to get rid of these experimentals. There's too much flak to do anything about that. Why is Nexus in a transport that's at half health? Why? Why would he do this? That's an unusual decision. I guess he's trying to hide from the Maver, maybe? Oh! Oh, the splash damage on these ASF. Oh my goodness, he lost so many of them there. But the Zooies are not going to be able to deal with raiding Titans like this. But is this chicken not fighting? At least move them in. You needed to at least right-click them in so the lightning would do some damage. Massive scout wave. What is the Maver shooting at? Maver looks like it's shooting at Donnie, by the way. He could die, basically. I think I need to split. Oh! That did a lot of damage right there. Donnie is dead if another one hits him. No question. It takes a few shots for it to kind of recalibrate the... Donnie? You okay, buddy? On the other side, the chickens are moving in, but it's only going to last temporarily. Oh my goodness, that was close, Donnie. Oh, one lands behind him. He just eats one. Well, he got right-clicked by a Maver, and now it's going to be a 1v1. As a huge bank of PD that's going to deny the Titans. Obviously, the Lightning Storms are pretty good defensively as well. At the front, we've got Restorers. They're not going to get through that much. Their DPS is too low. Fatboys are going to work really well here against a PD. This is what he needs to get rid of, but he's lost a nuke, so he can't really do that easily. A lot of strats on the field. Obviously, Nexus has a big eco advantage. He just needs to spam factories. Although he lost his Paragon. He's actually also lost 2 of his artilleries. Did not see that. So he's actually down to 1 T3 arty versus 1 Mavor. So he's actually behind in artillery. Lots of reclaim being dropped just outside blast space. And you know he is a cockroach. He loves these situations. He actually enjoys the defending forever deal where he lives off the reclaim. Titans here going to clean up most of these Zooies. They are actually really annoying, though. And they're going to kill a lot of stuff, look. He will have to transition one of these factories to make some Othams if he wants to hold this. Things not looking... I mean, this is not looking good here, but... The Mavor... And remember, look at all these scouts. The Mavor can kill anything here. And Nexus's arty can't shoot back. It's out of range. Just lines of PD and arty here. That will keep the Fatboys away, honestly. He doesn't have the same army or lines of PD here, so this is a smart move by Nexus. He can't get through this. So he's going to do the old go-around move. Meanwhile, the Mavor's slowly deleting things off of the map for Nexus. Well, I think he's going to take quite a bit of damage from this, though. Look at the amount of flak. Blast just needs more... He desperately needs more chickens, I think, to deal with this, but... He's making 2, 3 at a time and stalling badly. So I think he loses quite a bit of base for this. Not necessarily to this army, but to this. This is the problem. He's going to lose his air grid as well by the looks of things. Now, Nexus is chilling in a continental here. The last of the air grid gets deleted. Really needs some chickens to kind of mow this stuff down. Omni dies. But he's going to take care of this. He's overwhelming eco at this point. Incoming the strats. They're going after the Fatboys. But actually they don't get anything done because the amount of shields here. Nexus cancels a Mavor. I didn't even know he was working on a Mavor. I don't see a Mavor. Nexus, he just has to kind of outlast and just needs to overpower his opponent with the units he has and the extra production and resources. Nexus, I feel like that's what his play. But for Blast, he needs to go for a snipe. This is looking increasingly bad. When he loses this and all the units come here, he's going to be basically just like this. And everything else will belong to Nexus. Oh, another air grid's going to be deleted. The Fatboys are on retreat, but looks like they're going to get caught by the GCs here. And going after hubs is really not a good use of the Fatboy's DPS. This is starting to look like a collapse here. ASF-wise, 139, and Nexus 173. So actually the gap is not as big as it was. And that's probably due to some of those losses we saw Nexus take earlier to Sam's. Did this transport take a hit? Is that why it's low health? He actually took damage there. He actually took 2,000 damage. He like was like a 1/10 of a Mavor shell away from instant death there. He very, very nearly died. This is not a safe place to stay. How many shields does it take to stop a Mavor? Well, actually only one. I'm pretty sure if you ask enjoyers, they will tell you that it only takes one shield to stop a Mavor. And that was an interesting attempt there by Blast to get some ASF round and go after the transport. These GCs look like they're going to die, but the damage they're doing is huge. This is a nice sneaky attempt here. Yeah, people who play Gap, they know how to mitigate damage from incoming artillery because they do it all the time. And Blast is starting to collapse. Where is the... Okay, well, all Ned Blast has to do is kill this. If he gets the transport, it's GG. Oh, I think he's going to get caught, though. Nice intercepting work here by Nexus. And a good air turn basically will secure it. Only a couple of them needed to get through. He's playing very dangerously. Only a couple of ASF will basically seal the game. It's so close. Oh, maybe Blast should have tried to fight air instead. Nexus puts down the ACU. Starts mass shield production. The Mavor should really lock onto him, to be honest. But there's no vision to do that.
Under attack.
Commander under attack. Blast is under threat here. Although Titans are not going to be able to manage this, surely. Gets under the shield. Pickens finish off the Titans. There is so much reclaim available. 862k. Starting a Mavor himself here. Another shield dies. There's two ways of basically defending against a Mavor here. You can have so many shields that they're kind of like blink on and off one at a time, or you can assist one shield. If you assist one shield with everything, you can basically keep it up indefinitely. Another scout gets through here. There's no ASF really. Yeah, tellying next to the transport with Billy could work. It's only got 3,000 shield here. He must have gotten so lucky to only take like 2,000 damage from a Mavor shell, because they do like nearly 20,000 damage a hit. Like, these have got 17,000 shield points, right? And one Mavor deletes all of that instantly. And this is where having that extra fire rate would make a huge difference. Just having the shells land slightly more often can wear down the shields. And Blast is just making nothing but PD right now. I think the end of the game might be imminent here. I'll crank it up a little bit. A teleport from Blast combined with the Mavor or some kind of air snipe was really his option. Nexus now has half of his own Mavor completed. Again, a shell landing here now would instantly kill Nexus. Maybe Blast could have done more damage with his Mavor, firing at other targets than the one shield location, honestly. Maybe. So finally those Othams get out in the top. And obviously they are going to beat the Titans. And the great migration of Titans across the map begins. Normally you see this with labs, but it's actually Titans in this game. Where is Nexus? Nexus, you almost died again! What are you doing? Oh my goodness, he's still in danger. He almost died. He's got the personal shield now, but oh my goodness. He's so close to dying. I'm gonna have to split and just leave it on here because he's gonna pop, isn't he? Surely not, but Nexus asked Blast to kill himself for sanity reasons. That is not going to work. Asking Blast to give up a game. You know, he actually enjoys this playing to the last man. Like a pig. In the mud, Nexus nearly dies again! Just needs to assist one shield, I think. Because this plan is not working. I think Nexus is starting to realize that he actually is in danger. Ravagers open up on the GCs. PD and Artie's behind them. They're 123 eco to 2000 now. But, I don't think Blast needs... He doesn't need eco. He has reclaim. I'm fairly sure Nexus can take one hit right now. He's got enough shield to take a single hit on his ACU. But the scouts are over his head, so... If only he had some air, like... air to shoot these drones, because they shoot the shield. If you fly in with inties, they shoot the drones and they shoot the shields, which does a lot of damage to the shields. Billy could also work. A teleport Billy could also work to get the shields down, because Nexus, there's no TMD here. So a teleport Billy could also work. Just don't think he has the... Don't think Blast has the eco for it anymore. What is he doing? What is Blast doing on his upgrade? It must have been a long time ago. Starting teleporter. So he is going for a teleport Billy. The Nexus is producing Zars. There is an anti-nuke, so you can't even nuke it easily. Air is the solution here. I think just make a lot of strats is probably the way to solve this. If I was Nexus, I think I'd just be getting strats and going for the anti-nuke core, just straight for the ACU. There's no upgrades on this ACU, by the way. None. He's just trying to do teleporter. He's still losing. He's still losing, boys. Otham's in the front, tanking the harb damage. Edie in the back. And this attack has done nothing, again, except feed, blast, more reclaim. I don't think he'll get through with these units either, thanks to the Ravagers and Chickens. But I'm pretty sure the donuts here, the Tsar, well, one gets taken down immediately. That lands on the Mavor. Okay, it's over. The Mavor is down. And in come the Nexus donuts here. The cockroach is exterminated. This one's going to go to... There's actually some strats coming in. Where did he hide these? Did he make air up here? He did. This was also a really good plan, Blast. If you could have... going for strats to try to break the shield. Or Billy. Or Billy and strats and the Mavor. Oh, close one. Close one. Let's take a look at our scores then. As you can see, Nexus miles ahead of everyone. He did have 2 bases, but if we check the graph, yeah, he was ahead by a long way, even before the telly, and he got double base, so very well ecoed by him this game. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.